Welcome everybody to Wager Talk today. I'm Lawrence Prez, and we got a killer show lined up. An absolute ton of betting information is coming your way. We're going to start the show with Adam Trigger. He's got two college basketball games that he's going to take apart. Navy and Rider, and Iona and Delaware. Adam Trigger knows college basketball. Trust me on this. And plus, if you follow him on Twitter, he literally spends his life in college basketball arenas. So stay with us for that. After that, Bryan Power, college football, Ball State and Buffalo. This game is tonight. Kansas and BYU. And like Trigger knows basketball, Power killing it in college football this year. And we're going to end the show with Rob Veno. He's going to take apart Atlanta and Boston and Western Michigan. My co-host, Steve Merrill. How are you, my friend?
Doing well, Prez. And yeah, that's another Tuesday night Mac attack. So you know what? I'll do a big game breakdown on the game remaining. What is it? Central Michigan, Toledo, I believe. So we'll cover all three Tuesday night MAC games free for you here on the show in the next 30 minutes, basically. You mentioned college basketball. Adam Trigger's going to be on in a moment, but the college basketball tip-off show debuts this afternoon at 2:15 Eastern, and I will be on with Brian Leonard, and then Adam will be back on Thursday and Friday. We're doing days where there's big cards, right? Just like the NBA. The NBA play-in tournament begins, so there will be an NBA tip-off show today also. So a loaded Tuesday. You know, last week there was no NBA because of Election Tuesday. By the way, belated Happy Veterans Day to everybody. I didn't do any shows yesterday, so I want to get that in. But yeah, it's a loaded Tuesday here on Wager Talk TV. And Prez, just so we don't forget, it's $5 Tuesday. Every capper has a best bet for $5. That's an instant 80% discount. And also, I wasn't on yesterday, so I wore it today. We got the Gold Sheet hoodie. The only thing better than the free Gold Sheet hoodie is the next 6 days of the Gold Sheet for free. Because we had this offer yesterday. I know many people were getting back to work on Monday. They missed it. But if you log into your account, if you have an account, just go up to the top of the page and click Gold Sheet, and you will have the basketball newsletter for the next 6 days and nights for free. What a great deal. And Adam Trigger, you got to appreciate that, my man, because I know you like college basketball as much as anybody. And you can get the next, you too, Adam, can get the next 6 days and nights free of the Gold Sheet at WagerTalk.com. Adam, welcome to the show. How has College Hoops been doing?
It's been good. I joked yesterday that I was just happy to survive the first week, right? Because November basketball, Steve, Prez, as you guys know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you really did your homework, you were pretty much guaranteed to win in November. And now with so much roster movement, some of these teams we're just seeing for the first time. It's really hard to win in November and December. I've looked at my own numbers the last couple of years, and they've been considerably better in January, February, March. I'm not saying it can't be done, Prez, but we're only a week in. It's a small sample so far. So I'm 6-4 to this point. I was just joking. I'm happy to be ahead because it's a little bit of a crapshoot early on.
And look, I mean, small sample size. I'm with you. I've won my last 7 college basketball games. I'm 9-1 in my last 10. I'm 10-2 on the season. I've had a plus 17.5 dog win outright. I was on Yale last night. It wasn't even close. I would say college basketball right now for me would be like picking up women in a bar.
But I thought you said you were doing well.
Listen,
easy.
Yeah, I was going to say, check in with me in 2 more weeks, and if it's still going that great,
brother, I'm with you, dude. I'm with you, man. Obviously, I'm not going 9-1 my next 10, but I mean 59% last year, same the year before. So I'm expecting nothing but greatness from me. And Steve. Yeah. Great promo on the Gold Sheet, brother. I got in trouble yesterday for not promoting the Gold Sheet.
I got you.
I was ready to promote it today. I worked on it. I practiced, and then you came in and mic dropped all over me.
Hey, it's an hour-long show, man. It's Tuesday. We can go long. You'll have plenty of opportunity to do the promotion still mid-show.
Yeah, okay, good.
I don't have a hard out.
And 6-4 is really good. So I'm not.
Well,
I'm with you.
No, the point I'm just
6 and
trying to
4
make,
starts.
the point I'm trying to make just for our viewers is that I'm not saying you can't win in November and December, but you really got to kind of like pick your spots, stick to I'm going to talk about two games that I just didn't get the number I wanted, so they're not going to be client plays. I think that's ultimately, I think less is more in the early going, just because you're messing with a lot of potential variance. So that's what I meant by that. I'm not saying you can't win in November, December, but if you come out firing 10, 11 plays a day, I don't see how it goes well for you early on.
Yeah. No, one play. Bill Sandoval, Prez's favorite drink is the Cosby Special. No, Bill, I just stand there.
Oh my, that's just inappropriate. My goodness.
Yeah. Oh,
This
fine.
is no longer Trash Talk Tuesday, Bill Sandoval. You're a loyal viewer. You should know that. Come on.
Hubs thinks I dye my eyebrow.
Wow. Where are we going? Yeah.
Okay. And let's get into it, brother. Love having you with us. I hope you're enjoying going to all these games every night. You're in a great area, certainly about 50 stadiums in driving distance.
Oh, more. Easily more. Yeah, Northeast.
Okay.
There's 100 universities in 3-4 hours from me. It's great.
Well, are you going to the Navy Rider game, and how do we bet it?
I'm not, but I was at Navy over the weekend. First of all, shout out to the people at Navy. They were so awesome to me. It's really hit or miss when I request to go. Sometimes I get ignored. Navy rolled out the red carpet, so that was shout out to them. I had a blast there. And I did get to see Navy play on Friday night against Harvard in their home gym down in Annapolis. And I'll just start with what I think about this Navy team. I'm really impressed with them, and I'll get into. I'm going to talk about Ryder first. Actually, I want to talk about what I made the number, because this goes back to my previous point. I made the number 6.5 Navy here, and I was very close to making a client play on this. It was 4.5 this morning. I had to get comfortable with potentially laying multiple possessions with Navy, and before I could do it, the number was gone. Quickly bet to 6.5. So this is one where I just have to stay out of it. Can't have FOMO. Didn't get the number I wanted. I have to pass. But Navy's a really good team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they cover this number. I also think this is a good spot to play against Ryder. So I'll talk about a little bit about how Ryder's season has started. They went out to the West Coast to play UCLA and San Diego. Okay, that was the first week. They came home, and then on Saturday they went. I'm assuming they stayed over in either the Baltimore or Annapolis area to play this game tonight. So that's 4 different cities in about 8 days. Where Cruz yet. So Zion Cruz for Ryder is a kid that comes in from junior college. He was a very highly touted recruit out of high school, went to DePaul, didn't play much, was a stud at JUCO last year. He's yet to play. I don't know if we see him here. Ryder has a week off until they play their next game. I think it's out in Iowa. So that's something I'll kind of be looking for, because that would make Ryder, in my opinion, considerably better than they are right now. So haven't seen Zion Cruz yet. Don't know if he plays tonight. But if he's out, if he's not playing, it'd be more reason to like Navy. As far as Navy's concerned, I spoke about the number. The market's coming around on them. I mean, 6.5 is a lot of points, but they deserve it, in my opinion. Austin Bignini is one of the best players in the Patriot League. He's an absolute stud. Shout out to my buddy Jim Root for this for this tidbit right here. Navy is 25 points better per 100 possessions when he's on the floor as opposed to when he's off. He's one of the highest on-off percentage guys in the country. He's averaging 28.5 points per game for through 2 games, was 17 for 17 from the foul line on Friday night when I saw him play against Harvard. He's an absolute stud, and I just don't think people understand how good this Navy team is. They return all of their minutes from last year, so not only are they really good, they're also very experienced, a lot of continuity, and that plays early in the season. I couldn't get to the window with this at the current number of 6.5, but I do think Navy wins, and I'll tell you what, there is sections where they pull Bignini off the floor and Navy struggles a little bit without him. So maybe you wait until he comes out for a few minutes, and that's when you jump in live. But I fully expect Navy to win this game.
Adam Trigger talking a little bit of college basketball here on Wager Talk today. And once again, the college basketball tip-off show debuts live at 2:15 Eastern today on Tuesday. Brian Leonard and myself, Steve Merrill, will be breaking down the Duke-Kentucky game and also taking any games you want to talk about in the live chat. And then Adam will be back on Thursday and Friday at 2:15 Eastern on the show live. So college basketball is here on Wager Talk TV. And another game you could, I guess, possibly go to is Iona, Delaware tonight, Adam. Little CAA action. And the Delaware Blue Hens will be leaving my CAA after this season for Conference USA. They're going FBS football next year, and they'll be leaving basketball as well. What are you doing with this game? We've got Iona as a 6-point favorite at home against Delaware tonight, total 152.
Yeah, not too far. Steve, I could go to a game every night, but I've got a wife, 2 dogs.
If you were more committed, you would.
I know, right? I'll be at the Albany Cup in Albany on Saturday for Siena, Albany. Big deal for us Capital Region people. But, as far as Iona and Delaware, that's the Delaware State.
Wrong logo. That's Delaware State.
Wrong logo.
Uh-oh. That's Delaware State.
As a coastal... Listen, as
that's
a
no
coastal
blue hen, Adam.
athletic...
That didn't look like a blue hen. That looked like a blue hornet.
Steve, listen, Steve is our resident CAA guy. You can't be coming through and messing up the Blue Hens logo for Steve Merrill.
That actually was a blue hornet, I think. What is Delaware State, Adam? Are they like the blue hornets? That was pretty damn close.
I believe they're the Hornets, and that's a cool. Throw that logo.
That was like a blue
hornet.
hornet.
That is one of the,
close enough.
That is one of the best color templates in college.
That is a pretty cool logo. I like that better than the Blue Hens. We're good with it.
Yeah, and
does that change your handicap now, Adam? If it's a different logo,
it doesn't at all. I'm not really high on Delaware.
Dan, I don't think
Prez.
I'm needed. I just get.
Oh no, Prez, that's not true. That's
Steve,
not true.
You're doing a wonderful job hosting this show, bro. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I saw Iona play on opening night, so I went down to Princeton and saw Princeton Iona on opening night. And my biggest takeaway from that game is Iona looked like a Tobin Anderson coach team. So of course, Tobin Anderson, formerly of Fairleigh Dickinson, put that tremendous game plan together 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament to beat number 1 seeded Purdue, and goes to Iona, and last year inherits a roster that just didn't really buy into what he wants to do. And so what he wants to do is very specific. He wants to press the entire game. He's done it his entire career. And, he just didn't have a team that bought into his style. And it's why Iona really struggled last year. So what did he do? He just cleaned house. This is an entirely new team that he has this year as opposed to last year. All transfers. Christian Winborn from St. Joe's, DeJour Reeves from Northern Colorado, a D2 guy in James Patterson that I was really impressed with against Princeton. He brings Luke Youngers from Omaha, Clarence Rupert from Southern Illinois, just an entirely new team. And my biggest takeaway on Monday night at Princeton as a 12.5-point underdog, they looked like a Tobin Anderson team. The press really messed up Princeton. They got Princeton to turn the ball over 17 times. That's significant. That Princeton team is an odds-on favorite this year to win the Ivy League. They're a very, very good basketball team, and Iona led the majority of that game all the way till there was 3 seconds left. Princeton ended up at the foul line, hit 2 free throws to go up by 1, and then Iona missed a floater to win the game at the buzzer. So a tough loss there, but really was impressed with them. Iona lost to Hofstra over the weekend, but Speedy Claxton always has guards that really handle the ball and are good against the press. So I wasn't all that surprised that they lost that game to Hofstra. I will, however, be surprised if they lose to Delaware. I'm not high on this Delaware team this year. They lost a lot from last year. Jair Davis is now at Syracuse. They lose Gerald Drumgoole and Christian Ray. That's a lot of minutes and a lot of scoring, and they're a little bit unsure of themselves at this point. They played Bucknell and Robert Morris, turned the ball over 14 times each, and just weren't great in either game. Tyler Hauser hasn't played yet. They're 6'9" big, and you can't be unsure of yourself if you're playing against the press that Tobin Anderson can fire up with this Iona team. Iona's got a great environment. They're going to show out for their first home game. I could see them running Delaware out of the gym. So I like both of these favorites, Iona and Navy, and I'll even throw one more thing out there. If you like the whole money line parlay thing, I don't think Iona or Navy lose tonight. So you can pair them together at right around even money, and it's probably a winner.
There we go. Adam Trigger, everyone. And guys, Adam knows this sport. Hopefully some of you get a chance to meet him while he's on the road. Adam, what do you have to promote?
Yeah, I got my first 5% college basketball play of the year. It's a spot that I had circled maybe a month ago. And you may even have figured out what it was if you watched all those previews I did on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. But there's a spot I really love tonight. I got the number I wanted, so I made it a 5% play. And so far, so good. So hopefully we've got another one tonight up now. Just $5. It's Tuesday, so just $5. WT.buzz/AT.
Adam Trigger, everyone. What a start to a show. Bryan Power, still #1 college football expert this year. He's got 2 college football plays. Plus, we've got Rob Veno, Steve Merrill's big game breakdown, so much more. Steve, I know we're going to get into what did bettors learn, but Coom, our good pal, Coom Tham, he is a listener. He's in this chat room every single day. So appreciative. He wants to know why Bitcoin has skyrocketed. And Coom, this is a topic Steve and I know well and have discussed. Steve can attest to the fact that 6 months ago, I think somewhere around April when Bitcoin started climbing, got to around 72, 73. I told everybody that we have a shot at 100K in November. We hit 89K in November, and there's 2 reasons why Bitcoin is skyrocketing. The first is because I said it would, and the second is because Donald Trump is going to be a big-time crypto-loving president. Plus, there's a lot of other reasons as well. But Bitcoin is going to continue to go up. It'll have moments where it'll come back down for a brief period of time. But I think Bitcoin is a hold right now. So for anyone who wants to know what to do with Bitcoin and Ethereum, it is a hold. Anything you want to add, Steve?
Yeah, unless you made your announcement to buy Bitcoin exactly when Trump was confirmed as the president, like at 2 a.m. on Wednesday morning. I'll go with the second reason. It's probably a stronger reason. But you've been bullish on Bitcoin for quite a while, and you and I talked about it a couple years ago when it was at 15,000. Do you remember that? It had gone from 60-some thousand down to 15,000. I said all along that's probably a long-term support level. I don't think we will probably ever touch that long-term support level again. So that one is gone. The question becomes now, where is the new long-term support level? I agree, Prez, it will touch 100,000 at some point. The question becomes, will it touch 50 or 40 again before it does so? So it's very volatile right now. I will say, I saw a lot of talking heads on the business channels yesterday saying it's not too late to get in and buy. I'm not a big believer in buying something that goes up like 20% in 3 days. That's not a long-term strategy. Right. I do think long-term it's got a lot of support in that 50, 60 range, but it could very well touch that before it goes higher.
It's tough though, Steve, because as I said, I'm not recommending a buy. I'm recommending a hold.
I agree.
However, I don't have a fundamental problem with a buy. And I'll tell you why real quick. I agree that buying now is a bad plan. Buying in 2 months will probably be a better plan. I agree that we are going to see a dive before we get to 100K and then further than that. Ultimately, if you don't need the money now and you buy now, you will make money on your Bitcoin. You will lose for a short period of time. But man, Bitcoin's got a pathway to $1 million a piece. I think it's going to happen in the next 8 years. Bitcoin's going to go up to 100K in the next 6 months or so, even shorter. So I'm not against buying, but I would suggest waiting a little bit because we are going to see a dip. Dan Alexander told me Russell Okung, a player on the Florida Panthers, asked for half of his contract on the Carolina Panthers. It's Carolina Hurricanes. Oh, the football player, Ronald Okung, the football player, asked for half his contract in Bitcoin in 2019, and they agreed. Way to go, Russ! Okay, so there's our Bitcoin conversation. Russ, you're my new favorite player because you're a genius. Steve Merrill, what did bettors learn?
Yeah, real quick, by the way, he did that when Bitcoin was extremely low, so the risk reward on that was extremely good. I thought you were going to say somebody was asking to do that now. I'd say what a terrible strategy. Just get paid in dollars and buy damn Bitcoin if you're so bullish on it. But by the way, real quick, we'll leave it at this, but you could trickle in also, right? You don't have to buy 100% of your stake right now at 89,000. You could buy 10%. And then tell yourself every time it goes down 5,000, you're buying another 10%. And if it never goes down again, well, then you're happy because you're still making money even on that smaller investment, right? So really average in. It's such a great strategy. And it segues to what I want to talk about for what bettors learn, and that's money management and segueing in. You know, I've had a fantastic 365-day run, and I promote the 365-day all sports special, and we still have that promo code SM365, gets you an instant $811 discount. The reason, because that gets it down to exactly $99 a month, about $3 a day, about $1 a play. Well, how have I done over the last 365 days on my client best bets? Up 191.28 units, and we're up almost 70 net games above 500. That sounds pretty good, right? Well, if you bought the 3-day sampler this past weekend, I think you went 2-6. If you bought a 7-day this past week, you went 3-8. And boy, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, man. I love my YouTube comments, and I do read them, and I reply back. But it's very frustrating for me when people complain that we haven't done well over the past week or the past month, when I'm still up 191 units for the past 365 days exact.
Crazy.
You know, once again, you have to decide if you're a long-term or a short-term bettor. And you can, either one is fine, man. I don't care what you do, but just be true to yourself. And don't tell me you're taking a long-term investment approach when you think the sky is falling after a down month or a down week when we're still having a monster year. And it's really that simple. And I always say there's two types of sports bettors, you know, those that take it as an investment and those that just play recreational. Well, I probably should say there's 3 or 4 types, because there's people that think they're taking a serious investment approach and then they think the sky is falling after 1 week or 1 month. That's why we have a bankroll. That's why we're playing 4% per play, because there's going to be drawdowns. But just like Bitcoin, don't try to time the market, trickle in, right? And yes, after a monster run, I was on a 58-27 baseball run to finish the season. We're going to probably have a correction at some point. A 10-3 college football run after September, probably going to have a correction at some point. But you never know when that's going to be. So just tell yourself, long-term, set it and forget it, play consistent every day. And if you can't handle the emotional roller coaster swings, I'll be honest, you probably should find something else to do. But once again, it's frustrating when people say, hey, Steve, you got to focus more on your client best bets. Your free plays are crushing it on the videos. Nothing changes, man. I've done this for 29 straight years, and I basically have a very methodical, systematic approach for that reason, so that the emotional swings don't bother me. Nothing has changed. It's just called random fluctuations. And when you're up almost 210 units, you're going to maybe give back 20 units like we have over the past month. And now we're up 191 units the past 365 days. So once again, don't be afraid. SM365 gets it down to about $1 per play. That's on my site right now, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Well frickin' said, Steve Merrill. And I mean, listen, as one of the owners of WagerTalk, I can attest to the fact that we begged you to join this company, and you are killing it. I mean, absolutely crushing it. And we all get it, brother. I mean, you know, I had a 2-3 day on Sunday. My first losing
How dare you?
day. Dude, I came into Sunday on a 15-3 run. And I go 2-3 on Sunday, and a guy puts up in the comment section, what
17-6 then overall.
Yeah. What a disaster Sunday. 2-3 is not a disaster by any stretch, guys. Honestly.
Well, Prez, look at it this way. You were 1 game away from going 60%, which nobody, including myself, hits long term. I mean, that's just how silly the short-term random variance is.
Yeah. Oh, Bill Sandoval is really mad at you. You cost him a game 2 years ago, and he still hasn't forgiven you. I love you, Bill.
Man. Yeah, Bill's my man. He gets it. Bill is one that gets it. And to be honest, most of the live viewers right now get it. Big Daddy, Titan CT, all the guys we see every day get it. And it's not a coincidence that they're loyal viewers of Wager Talk TV.
We love you guys. And please hit that like button. Guys, before we bring Bryan Power in real quick, we got this unbelievable Gold Sheet special going. It's literally, the Basketball Gold Sheet newsletter is literally free until Sunday, November 17th. And I mean, I actually can't believe I own the Gold Sheet, Steve. Like, how crazy is that? You and I got into this industry at the same time. I'm slightly older than you, but I mean, we used to, I don't know about, I used to wait in Toronto. So we used to get the Gold Sheet a couple of days after you guys. And we used to stand at the store waiting for the Gold Sheet to be delivered. This is a sports betting publication that goes back to the 1950s. I own it. That's incredible. Cool. Anyway, it's free until Sunday. If you guys have never tried the Gold Sheet out, it is so good. And I know there's so much free content out there right now. I think it still sits on the Mount Rushmore of sports betting content. Check out our Basketball Gold Sheet newsletter. It is free until November 17th. Bryan Power, our number one college football bettor this year, and a man that looks like he had bangs until a fan won in a fight. What is going on? What is that guy, Dave? Who's the guy with the... what is going on with your hair right now, bro?
Yeah, I got to admit, Brian, I did notice it as well.
Brian Leonard never looked so good, did he? I got to say that right now.
I'm telling him you said that.
I love
telling him at 2:15 Eastern when I do college basketball live with him.
My God, Mark Zeno never worked out last now.
It looks like Mark Zeno had him in a headlock, Prez, for about 30 minutes of the show earlier today.
Oh, well, that's
giving him some noogies, giving him the business.
Or maybe Mark just farted at him and his hair just stood up. I don't know.
It looks like he saw a ghost. Let's keep rolling with Trash Talk Tuesday and other Bryan Power.
Jesus Christ.
It looks like he looked in the mirror. Oh, my goodness. It's too easy.
No.
Okay.
Bad-looking man. I don't know what you guys are saying.
Well, okay, Brian, let's get into it, brother. We're going to move away from your hair.
Oh, we got into it.
Eric D thinks you look like a Labradoodle. I'm thinking more like a Bradladoodle.
Oh, Labradoodles are great. They don't shed. They're hypoallergenic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, Brian.
It's a compliment.
Ball State, Buffalo. This game goes tonight. Show's gone off the rails. Let's bring it back. How do we bet this college football game?
Yeah, by the way, I mentioned Brian Leonard. Brian Leonard, another proud Mac graduate like myself. Prez, I was on this show last Tuesday. I told you two things. One, that I am one of the 7 or 8 most famous graduates in Mid-American Conference history. And I also told you to take Northern Illinois over Western Michigan. One of the commenters, I know we've had some dialogue about people commenting. One of the commenters live said, that play is dog poop. Well, guess what? Northern Illinois beat Western Michigan, so the play actually wasn't dog poop. Now, let's talk about Ball State and Buffalo, two teams that are kind of dog poop, to be blunt. There has been some line movement this morning. Ball State down to +4. I still like them at that number, though, and here's why. Buffalo, by my metrics, guys, has been one of the luckiest teams in the entire country. We're going to have more talk about luck ratings in our next breakdown as well. But Buffalo, in all 3 of their MAC wins this season, has been outgained, including 359 to 184 by Northern Illinois in a game that went to overtime. That was NIU's first game after that big upset win over Notre Dame, which you may recall. So they were in letdown mode. Buffalo was off a bye when they beat Toledo, so that was a favorable spot. And last time we saw the Bulls, what happened? Well, they got outgained by Akron. Akron's a very bad football team, and Buffalo won that game. It looks convincingly if you look at the final score, but total yardage was 452 to 390 in favor of the Zips, and the Zips failed on third down, not once, not twice, but 3 different times. But what really sticks out to me here is Buffalo has been favored by more than 3.5 points. Never all season. They actually closed -3.5 against an FCS team, Lafayette, in the season opener. So this is kind of uncharted territory for the Bulls. Generally, I know you guys understand this. Most of our viewers understand this. You don't want to get caught laying points with bad teams. Now, Ball State, as I mentioned at the open, they too are a bad team, but they're the underdog. And 6 of their 9 games this season, including all 5 versus MAC foes, have been decided by 1 possession. Some of the poor defensive numbers you'll see with Ball State, don't be scared off by those guys because those are skewed by 2 games. A loss to Miami of Florida and a loss to James Madison, both of those early in the season. Buffalo does not have an offense anywhere near the caliber of Miami, Florida, or James Madison, obviously. One final note, series history says to take the points as well. Ball State 9-2, straight up 7-4 against the number, last 11 versus Buffalo. Cardinals +4. That's how I play this.
Bryan Power with us. Steve, I'll throw to you for a follow-up question, but really quick, guys. On that Gold Sheet special, you have to already be not a client. You have to have an account at WagerTalk. You have to have an account at WagerTalk or the Gold Sheet, and the Gold Sheet is free for the next 7 days. Bryan Power has an account. He uses the Gold Sheet. He fans his hair.
No, I knew that was coming.
After he reads the thing. Bri, can you believe I own the Gold Sheet? Like, seriously, dude, how sick is that?
I thought you owned half of Canada, to be honest, Prez. That was the impression I got.
The Gold Sheet isn't Canadian. How dare you, Bryan Power, think the Gold Sheet is Canadian? What a great American staple, the Gold Sheet.
My brother owns half of Canada.
That actually is true.
Yes. I just own a little bit of the Gold Sheet, bro. Kansas.
Which is cooler.
Oh, wait, Steve. Go ahead, Steve. Ask a follow-up.
No, it's okay. I was going to say, first of all, Gold Sheet is free for the next 6 days, Prez. I don't want to get you in more trouble. This was a special that started yesterday on Monday, and since it was Veterans Day, the post office was closed, the banks were closed, Bryan Power was hiding. We want to make sure nobody missed it, so you get the next 6 days for free, but you have to have an account as of yesterday, active as of yesterday, and then you log in, and you can get it free by clicking on it. And Bryan Power is a great MAC graduate, so I'm not going to even dare follow up on that game. I do want to ask you about BYU, though. There are, what is it now, that Miami went down 3 unremaining top 25 teams that are undefeated, and BYU is one of them, Brian. I had Utah as the best bet. They did cash, plus the 3.5 on Saturday. They were winning that game outright most of the way, but BYU found another way to win. I have a feeling what you're probably doing with this one. Do you agree with me, BYU may be a little bit overrated this season?
Little bit overrated. Yeah, they're a lot of it over. They're a lot of it overrated.
BYU fans.
No, yeah, it's funny. Sometimes we have fun with my power ratings on the show. When Teddy's here, I can make Teddy's head. I remember last year when the Bills were in the midst of their losing streak, I said the Bills were still a top 4 team, even though they were 6-6, and we went back and forth about that. So I'm going to just say this right now. I have BYU as the 24th rated team in the country. They're barely a top 25 team. I know a lot of people are making comparisons to teams of years past. TCU 2 years ago, Washington last year. Those teams rode tremendous amount of luck to the national championship game. Both of those teams, I think, would be significant favorites over this BYU team. And let's talk about this late night game against Kansas, guys, on Saturday night. It is a very interesting matchup, as you guys know, because we have an undefeated team that is ranked in the top 10. Yes, my ratings don't matter for the college football playoff. It is the committees. They have BYU in the top 10. I think that's silly, but they're only laying a field goal at home to an opponent with a 3-6 straight up record. That right there should tell you something. And if you take one thing away from this breakdown, guys, it should be this. Undefeated BYU, they are number 1 in my luck ratings. That is no surprise. Kansas, they are number 134 in my luck ratings. As you both know, there are only 134 FBS teams. So the respective one-loss records, guys, are just simply not an accurate where these are at. Entering this game, pardon me. Steve, you mentioned you had Utah last Saturday night. I had Utah in the first half as a 4% best bet. Didn't want to stay up late, and I also figured that BYU voodoo that we've been seeing all season might strike. I wanted to get a good sleep. I didn't want to be kept up till 3 a.m. cursing the Cougars. So we got out while the get was good. You mentioned Utah was winning outright. Of course, BYU gets a gift penalty, kicks a field goal to win it at the end, but still a winner for Steve and anyone else who had Utah full game as well. Now, here's the thing with BYU. They're 4-0 now in straight up in games decided by 6 points or less. 3 of those 4 games, they have scored the game-winning field goal or touchdown in the final 2 minutes. On the flip side, you have Kansas, 0-5 straight up in one-score games this season, and they have lost the lead in the final minute of 4 of those 5 games. Just an incredible dichotomy here with close game variance, the likes of which you rarely see. We always talk about lucky and unlucky teams here on WagerTalk TV every week. But to this degree, it's pretty crazy. By the way, last Saturday, not only did I cash a ticket against BYU, I had Kansas against Iowa State. They absolutely rolled Iowa State. Guys, they're not used to seeing that much offense at Arrowhead Stadium this season.
Do you want to know why?
Why?
Why you cashed a ticket?
Yes,
Because you're
Kansas scored more points.
67 bloody percent this season, bitches.
There we go.
Boom!
There we go.
Calm down, Prez. Calm down, Prez. 67% were in November.
Look what you've done, Brian. Your damn winning record has excited him. It's all your fault.
What are you doing?
Oh my God, dude!
Prez?
It's like betting. It's like betting Viagra, bro.
Betting crack.
67% this college football season. Number one college football expert. Number one in college football the last 365 days. On a 50-23 run in college football. 11-2 run in 4% plays or higher. His college football is like his hair. It's outstanding. It's windblown. It's sexy. The women love it. The men want it. And he has a promo. Tell us about it, Bryan Power.
Well, you did an excellent job there, Prez, doing most of the heavy lifting for that promo. But yes, so look, here's the deal. Obviously, we've got this great $5 deal every Tuesday, okay? What I've done every week since we've started doing it is release my first college football play of the week. We've won 4 of the last 5 weeks. Last week, what was the $5 play? How about Rutgers +6? All they did was beat Minnesota outright. The week before, it was SMU. They absolutely destroyed a fraud, undefeated Pitt team in that game. So we've had great success with these $5 best bets. Prez, you mentioned the 11-2 run with all plays rated 4% or higher in college football. 50-23, my last 73 overall in CFB. You can get a 4% best bet from me for Saturday, just $5 right now on my page. You see the address right there. And the special offer, if you want to lock in long-term, Steve, right before I came on, was talking about long-term, be an investor. You can get the rest of the season, $229, no coupon code needed. Again, all you have to do is go to my page, wt.buzz/BP. I think it's under the deals tab as well at the website. So really excited. It's been a great season, obviously, Prez, and we look to finish it strong. By the way, in case you couldn't tell from my breakdown, I like Kansas +3 in that game.
Love you, Bryan Power.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Sandoval again. They call Prez Butter because he's on a roll. Okay. Steve Merrill, we still got Rob Veno coming. No hard stop, but we got to get out of here at around 5-1. Let Dan go eat some lunch. Real quick, it is $5 Tuesday, as we've spoken about, and I've got a 5% NFL side bet. This is my second 5% NFL side bet of the year, my first since week 1. This is my favorite play of the season. Period. End of story. I'll tell you guys flat out, I'll look you dead in the eye, and I'll tell you I will not have a stronger play this NFL season. We don't have games of the year at WagerTalk. We don't have games of the month. There's a reason for that. Our 5% is the highest rated play we have. If we had a higher rated play, say a 6 or a 7, this would be it. This is my strongest play, period. And it's only $5 freaking dollars. Steve Merrill, what do you got going? And then let's get to your big game breakdown.
I'll tell you what, I'll start the big game and we'll talk about it as I'm doing it here. So we'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's look at a college football game tonight on Tuesday. Free play for you on ESPNU, Central Michigan, Toledo, coming up in just a moment. I actually disagree with a sharp money move in this game. We don't just blindly play the sharp money. I'm going to fade the sharps here in just a moment. Quick reminder, though, it is $5 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com. I've got a strong NBA best bet for $5 Tuesday. I'm number 1 all-time in NBA profit at WagerTalk, up over 200 units the last 3 seasons. And you can get my top play for just $5 tonight. That's 80% discount off the normal rate. So if you want to try the NBA, tonight's the night to do it. $5 Tuesday, WagerTalk.com. All right, this game's not going to make my best bet card tonight. A lot of these weeknight games have random variants, but I do think the under is worth a look here for a couple reasons. First of all, sharp money has moved this from 49 up to 51.5. And while I respect sharp money, I don't always agree with it. And I don't agree with this move here. And we do get some value now as well, playing under 51.5. 51 is a very key number with football totals. There's about a 3 to 4% chance a game lands on 51. You just look at all the possible margins. For example, 27-24, 31-20, 41-10. I mean, a lot of things get you there. You get the point. And this is a game in which two teams have been very mediocre on offense at times this season, are playing each other. We've got Central Michigan averaging just over 25 a game. Yes, Toledo's averaging 29 a game, but I think that's a little bit misleading. As you look at some of their recent results, they have not exactly been lighting up the scoreboard. In fact, their last four games, they've scored 29 or less in every one of them. And in their last 6 games, they've scored 30 or less every time. Their average is high because they blew out Duquesne and UMass early in the season. Very lackluster offense. And one thing we've seen with these weeknight, especially these Tuesday and Wednesday games, at least when the Sun Belt and AAC was playing earlier this year, is that we get some ugly, low-scoring games. And Toledo has not played a weeknight game yet. They played the previous Saturday back on November 2nd, which means this is a strange scheduling spot for them. And then you've got Central Michigan, who's traveling after playing the Tuesday game last week at home. Central Michigan's lost 4 straight. They do not have a good passing attack. They average just 6.8 yards per pass against teams that allow 7.5. They're now placing a Toledo pass defense that allows just 6.4. So when Central Michigan gets behind in this game, as they probably will, as a 14.5-point dog, I think they're going to have a tough time catching up and throwing the ball. That's another reason I lean under here. And once again, we don't just blindly follow the sharps here. I think they've actually inflated this line too high. Take a look at under 51.5 between Central Michigan and Toledo tonight on Tuesday at 7 Eastern on ESPNU. And don't forget, once again, $5 Tuesday right now at WagerTalk.com. And I do have a powerful NBA best bet at an 80% discount because it's $5 Tuesday. Check it out right now. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And hey, get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. If you're liking these free play videos, be sure to hit the thumbs up, the like, comment below on the videos. I read them, I'll reply back. Hit subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert so you never miss the free play videos when they go live all week long here on WagerTalk TV.
Great stuff, Steve. Let's keep the show moving. Rob Veno joining us. Robert, how are you, my friend? I love seeing you on the show. You doing well?
I can hardly see
I'm
Rob.
good today, Prez. Yeah, kind of darked out here. You talked about Bryan Power hiding. Maybe I'm hiding a little bit, guys, but I'm good. Prez, how are you, buddy? Let me return that ask. How are you?
Well, I appreciate that. Not many people do ask. I'm rocking and rolling, bro. I rode this morning, 15K. I got weights later on this afternoon. I'm playing hockey tonight, so 3 physical activities. I just purchased my first. I booked my first ski trip. Either of you can come with me. December 9th, we're going to Whistler for 3 quick days of skiing. Both you, Rob and Steve, you're welcome. I got a bed for you there. I own my own place. And yeah, so I'm feeling good, man. And my college basketball is freaking epic. Okay.
That was strong.
Let's talk NBA, bro. Atlanta playing Boston tonight. How do we bet this game?
Well, I'm going to look at the Boston first half team total, guys, for a couple of reasons. I went this direction on Sunday, fell just shy with the Celtics first half over. Number was 59. They got to 58 against Milwaukee, only shot 41.3% from the floor. But they're third in the NBA this year in first half points scored average, which is 62 on their part here. And Atlanta's the third worst at allowing points in the first half. They give up 61. So you got a nice matchup there for Boston to come home and have a high-scoring first half. I think an even more favorable matchup is the fact that the Celtics, three-point shooting, just in volume, they shoot 51 threes a game. They shoot them at 36.5%, so it's a good percentage. But that volume and that shooting percentage against Atlanta, the Hawks are the worst three-point defense in the league. So you figure a lot of these Boston threes will fall here. That should get us pretty high scoring early and often. I think that their scoring gets even further magnified because Atlanta goes so fast. They're the 4th fastest paced team in the NBA, which means you get a lot of possessions. You get a lot of scoring chances. That helps Boston. Jaylen Brown, starting shooting guard, back for the second game off of injury. Had an initial game on Sunday. Things turned out pretty well health-wise, so I'd expect Jaylen Brown to have an even better game here. I think the first half is probably the better way to go than full game, although I wouldn't argue anybody off a full game Boston team total. But when you have a line this big, the chance for blowout exists. Trae Young isn't playing for Atlanta, so the chance for blowout exists even further. I think there's a lot of signals here that point towards Boston getting up and over 64 points. The number here is 62.5. I think we get over it, guys. It looks like a real good matchup for Boston to get out early and often.
Steve?
Rob Veno, you can find him, of course, on NBA Tip-Off, and we do the days in which we have large cards. I'm not used to doing the follow-ups, Prez. I'm used to filling in for you more than Teddy. So, Rob, early on in the NBA season, just want to get your big picture takeaway. Obviously, the Cavs are off to an incredible start. I had somebody ask me yesterday, can they go 20-0? I think they're being a little sarcastic. But biggest surprises or the opposite, good or bad surprises, your takeaways, some things you didn't necessarily see coming a couple weeks ago?
Well, I think certainly Milwaukee, Steve, right? 2-8 right now. You would expect it after last year, disappointing season, that they would be ready right out of the gate, but they haven't been. Doc Rivers, a ton of reasons why. So I think they're probably a disappointment. The Cavaliers, as you mentioned, certainly a bit of a surprise with the undefeated record and the camaraderie and cohesiveness that they have as a team, a group that actually likes each other. I've mentioned this a few times on the NBA Tip-Off show. You like to bet on teams that actually like each other. That's a good sign there. A couple of big injuries here. We'll see how they go. Steve, Kevin Durant in Phoenix. We'll see how they perform without him. Chet Holmgren for OKC didn't seem to bother them last night. But long-term, we'll see how those injuries go. So NBA still young, small sample size, but I think Cleveland and Milwaukee probably the polar opposites right now of each other.
There's Prez. Look. You did what I did, Prez. Now you know how it feels. I was messaging and everything as well, and I was watching you. I knew it was going to happen, Rob. So that's why I let it slide. I love it.
And it
Man, we
never
were so similar.
happens. It never happens. Dude, I've checked. This is my third show today. I did puck time this morning.
I'm just shocked that you did you did cycle. You're going to lift weights and then play a hockey game. I like to work out, and I used to play ice hockey as well 25 years ago. There's no way I would have all that on the same day, man. You better carb up, son.
Dude, yesterday I rode in the morning, played an hour and a half of pickleball, and lifted weights. So this is no anomaly, dude. I'm a healthy, old, decrepit, somewhat perverted man who is killing it in college basketball. Rob Veno, where did you go? There you are. What do you got to propose, my brother?
Appearance there again.
What?
Well, first he's glitchy. Refresh, Rob. I'll save you. Go and refresh. We still got to get to his college football game because the little trick of the trade. Little trick of the trade for people that don't know is we love doing these solo videos, right? And these Tuesday games come around fast. WagerTalk's going to clip each one of these, including my big game breakdown. We'll have standalone solos as well. So we got to get to Rob's because I promised all three national TV Mac attacks tonight, Rob. We've done two of them. You got to finish us off here with this Western Michigan Bowling Green game. And I believe this is the big one on ESPN2, the Deuce, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is the one that's meaningful, Steve. Both of these teams in contention for a spot in the MAC championship game. It's kind of an elimination game. Loser leaves. For Western Michigan, interestingly enough, the schedule maker was kind to them. This is the only team that's currently in the top four in that league that Western Michigan will have to play this season. So if they win, I was checking out the tiebreaker scenarios. They can go 1-0 against their four opponents, and the tiebreaker goes to them at 100% winning record against the other three sides, and they would be in. So huge game for both. For me, this play is really about 2/3 situational. Generally, I like to handicap the fundamentals, but here the situation to me just says Western Michigan plus the points. There's been a ton of movement on the side here, so it's a bit of a contrarian play. When you look at matchups here, you've got two of the best quarterbacks in the league, right? Hayden Wolf on one side, Western Michigan, Connor Bazelak, ex-Missouri guy on the other side. They rank 1 and 2 in quarterback rating. Offense, Western Michigan's been dynamite all season long. Number 1 in scoring, number 1 in rushing, number 1 in total. So it's going to be a challenge for Bowling Green, who hasn't faced a MAC offense like this. On the other side, Western Michigan's defense has been horrendous, 10th overall, 9th versus the run, 9th versus the pass. So you've got a little bit of a contradiction there, but they somewhat even themselves out. I think when you look at this as a whole, Western Michigan, yes, their schedule has been a bit softer. You could interpret that however you want in the MAC. Things are always so up in the air. I don't put too much emphasis on it. But I'll say this, Bowling Green as a favorite this season against FBS teams, they're 0-5 against the spread. And here they're favored by 9.5. Haven't covered a game as a favorite yet this season against an FBS team. So that's a red flag for the Bowling Green side. They've lost on this home field outright already to Old Dominion and Northern Illinois. Western Michigan always with backdoor potential as well because of that offense. So plus 9.5 to me seems like an awfully large number. I'll take that side, the underdog plus 9.5.
There we
Yeah,
go,
that line
Robert.
is climbing, guys.
Oh,
Prez, I was going to tell
ahead,
people that
Steve.
line opened 7, was 8.5 about an hour ago. Now it's 9.5. That's why the screen said 8.5. So if you do like Western Michigan, like Rob does, I would wait. Try to get that plus 10 before it kicks off at 7 Eastern. The risk reward between 8.5 to 10 is worth waiting, even if it drops back down a bit.
Yeah, especially given that 8 is, 8 and 9. These are dead numbers.
9's a real dead number. Yeah.
Nicely said, Steve. Rob, what do you got to promote?
Let's promote tonight. Prez, aside from what I've already listed here, there's an additional pair of NBA plays plus an additional MAC play. It was discussed here on the show. A couple of plays here for Tuesday night. Obviously, a football-filled weekend. We'll be involved tomorrow. We'll be involved Thursday as well. So continue to check us out as these sports start to overlap, guys. NBA, college hoop, college football, NFL. Every day there's something to play. So check it out, wt.buzz/RV.
That's the show, guys. Outstanding stuff. Listen, Steve, I want to just leave everybody with one last thing. Please work out. Like, all of you guys, Daryl, Little Bull, B Daddy, Roger, everybody in the chat room, you mean something to me. Like, you are part of my WagerTalk family. Steve, you are as good as it gets. You're important to me. Teddy, Rob Veno, Dan Newber, Joe Ranieri, Bryan Power. All of you guys are important to me. Please, God, take care of yourself, especially if you're over the age of 40, guys. Lift weights, because every day that goes by, you are losing muscle mass, and it never, ever comes back. Lift heavy weights, even if it's for 20 minutes a day. Just push or pull something heavy on a regular basis, and take care of yourself, man. It's more important than winning in bets. It's more important than anything in your life. Take care of yourself. That's it for the show. Steve Merrill, thank you for co-hosting with me every Tuesday, my brother. A shout out to Rob Veno, Bryan Power, Adam Trigger, Dan Newber, and all of you guys in the chat room. I'm doing the presidential address in NFL in about 20 minutes. It'll be up around 6 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for watching.